When you're looking at adjustment as a personality trait, you're looking at people's stress levels and how they manage those stress levels in a working environment. So when you change that working environment from a traditional office environment to a remote or a home working environment, there's a lot of implications for stress and stress levels and managing that as a part of kind of effectively managing your work and your workload and your responsibilities. And it's really going to change when you're in a home working environment because the potential sources of stress and relieving stress can be fundamentally different. And a lot of people are used to managing their stress levels in an office environment or in a particular working environment that they're used to and they have experience with. And they know they've got tips and strategies and ways of managing and dealing with that stress in a certain environment. But sometimes those stress management strategies translate really well into different environments. Sometimes they don't at all. So one of the sources of stress people might have in a kind of traditional office environment could be their commute and maybe their colleagues. Some people get along with their colleagues better than others, but for some people, they're a really profound source of stress. So for some people, working at home is going to alleviate some of the stressors that they're used to in an office environment. Whereas for other people, being at home and not having those sources of social support or colleagues they really like and get along with, losing that is going to be a huge source of stress. Because the way people deal with and manage their kind of anxieties and insecurities or opportunities in the workplace really vary. So when you take those kind of traditional environment, that familiar environment away, sometimes that in itself can also be a source of stress, but it depends a lot on people's other personality traits and what their working versus their home or their remote working environment is going to be like. So the challenge for a lot of people when they're really new to remote working, new to working from home, is going to be either adapting the previous coping mechanisms to the new workplace, to the, whether it's your home workplace or a remote workplace or wherever it is, or in some cases it's coming up with new ones. So, in the current situation we're in with the COVID lockdown, you can't necessarily go out and exercise in the same way you used to be if that was a coping mechanism. You can't necessarily get out of a stressful environment in the same way you previously could. So sometimes it's, managing or adapting previous coping mechanisms or ways of adjusting to difficulty that worked before to the new environment. Some people are going to be naturally going to find that a bit easier. So for some people, they can adapt their routine to their home environment. Some people who have more space or a garden or, certain living environments are going to have more opportunities and advantages for dealing with stress than others. But for people who don't have easily adaptable kind of coping mechanisms or ways of dealing with stress, might need to come up with new ones. And you shouldn't underestimate the difficulty of doing that when people are in a new or unfamiliar environment, maybe having to do the same tasks, but in a very different situation or circumstances. There's the potential to create a lot more difficulty just in creating a new routine. It takes a lot of mental energy and physical energy sometimes to manage that new environment, right? For some people, their home working environment might be quite peaceful, quite easy, quite relaxing. For other people, it might be quite chaotic. There might be more people around than you're used to, or different people around than you're used to having to kind of manage while you're working. So those adjustment levels are really going to impact how people adapt and how quickly people adapt. So some people are going to need a lot more time to figure out how to manage their adjustment, how to manage their stress levels at home, and how to adapt those coping mechanisms into a new environment, a new situation, and even if it's the same responsibilities, to a fundamentally new and different way of working.